Hey mini enthusiasts, how are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're well and I hope you're having a great day. So today we are back on the Cooper S Sport 5 and it's a continuation of the valance and rear boot hinge panel lower section repair that we've done. We're going to get that all fully completed up now, filled, primed and painted. And please do watch through till the end of the video and let me know what you think. I'm really pleased with the result and I hope you'll see why. So this is really the penultimate episode. We'll have one more next week where I'm refitting all the lights, the boot panel and just giving it a final finish. And then after that we are on the Super City. Now I'm looking out for a part. If anyone knows where there's one going, and I'll update you a little bit more on what I'm going to do on the City, but maybe I'm going to give a little bit away now. So I want a 12G295 cylinder head casting. It needs to be a good one because I need to get it worked. So let me know in the comments or email me if you have one sitting around. Of course, I'm willing to give the going price. Right, we're back on it. I've just keyed that back with some 180 grit. We're just going to skim filler over where our line was, and you know, fingers crossed, if we've done the job to a good standard then it's not going to require loads and loads of filler. That's the plan anyway. So I'm going to get a skim of filler on there, we'll let it dry and then rub that back. Did I mention how much I love bodywork and rubbing down and preparing? No I didn't, because I flipping hate it. About another 3 hours have passed now. Really boring work. Let's turn around and have a look what I've done. So both sides have had a skim, in fact 2 skims of this U-Pole Easy One body filler. It says for deep repairs. So I've done one sort of heavy skim, rubbed that back, had another skim over the top. That got it back all flat, the seam for the weld gone. All looking really good, and I've just given it a paste over with this, which is like a really fine filler. That will just fill any little pinholes or tiny imperfections. But it's air dry, that takes a while to dry, so I'll leave that overnight. We've rubbed everything else down now, including the bottom half of the valance. I've then gone around and I've carefully seam sealed along the edge here, so where the 3 join, obviously you get a little gap between the 2. I don't want to paste it all with seam sealer, but I've just gone around with my finger, just made sure it gets into the grooves. These bits have come out really nice. Like I say, I've got to do the final rub down yet, and I've also gone underneath and I've seam sealed the inside of here. Now, really difficult to get to with the rear valance on and the subframe in, but that's all been done, and I've started to prep the boot floor now. I did think I'm not going to go mad with a boot floor. I'm not going to go mad because it's yeah, it's been repaired before. I'll just give that a rub down, flash over with colour and lacquer, and that should all be good. Right then, bit more progress, probably another couple of hours later at least. I've cleaned out all the boot. I'm not, as I've said before, I'm not going to go mad with the boot. I've just etch primed anywhere where I'd rubbed through on the paint. I'm actually avoiding doing the rear squab. I'll probably do the bottom half of it and just, you know, touch in these bits where it's rubbed through. But yeah, I'm not going to go mad inside the boot. Now, the only thing with putting the etch primer on is I can see some areas now where I need to go back and do a better job at filling. So just round the corner there, probably on the edge here and a little bit under that rear light. I thought I'd got it okay, but evidently not. This side, looking pretty good, but I've got a bit round there again where it just wants a small skim of filler over there, so a little bit more remedial work to do. Bottom of the valance all looking good, so yeah, we're getting there. Right, I've just redone those bits. I'm happy now. There's still a bit of weld visible there, but that'll be behind the headlight now. But where the joins are, it's always hard to tell in primer, to be honest, because once you put a shiny gloss coat on it, it tends to show up much worse. But when the primer was wet, it looked okay to me. Yeah, much more pleased. You can just, the weld line slightly proud on the inside there, but that's going to be, the boot rubber's going to be there. You're never going to see it. Everything else though, pretty pleased. Right, I'm trying to work out what to do next. I think the next thing I'm probably going to do is put colour. Don't know whether I'll go lacquer. Yeah, I probably will. Base coat and lacquer inside the boot. I was thinking I could do the whole lot in one go. Or do I do the filler primer? So I need to fill. I'm not going to bother filler priming the inside of the boot. It's just pointless. But I will do the outside. So do I do that before yeah, I should do the filler primer, colour inside the boot, and then mask all the inside off, and then final bit do the outside. Right then, we're at the satisfying part where you're putting paint on. First bit's going to be filler primer. So that's not very exciting. It's exciting when you get the colour on. But yeah, let me turn around and show you what I'm doing. So we've got it all in epoxy primer at the moment. And I've masked the whole car up. The whole car's covered. I've masked everywhere I want to do with filler primer. I'm not going to filler primer inside the boot because it's rough anyway. So not too worried about that. Over here, jowl paints again. So we've got high build black primer. It's 2K because we're using a 2K base and lacquer. So it's Rover Amaranth for the base colour. But first off, we got to get our high build primer on. It's black. So got to say thank you to Rick, who's got Velma the Mini, which he's restoring. Gave me some tips on paint and primer because I'd have done it in grey primer. But apparently black primer is much better because you use far less base coat. It covers much better on a darker car like this. And actually the thing I was worried about was if it's black, how do you put guide coat on there? How can you see where you've rubbed down? But actually when it's on there black and you rub it down, it turns back grey, and then the low spots are the black parts. So it's actually easier. So we need to mix that up now. I've not got a clue how much to use, to be honest. It's 4:1 plus 10 to 15%. So that's 4 parts primer, 1 part hardener, and then 10 to 15% of 2K thinner. You must use 2K thinner if you're using 2K paint. We'll stick it for a strainer. Yeah, I don't know how much to use. We'll get a couple of coats on it, 2 or 3 coats, and then we'll leave it overnight to dry. And then finally, just before we start painting, we will wipe it over with a tack cloth, although this is just primer at the moment, so it doesn't matter too much. And I will damp the floor down. Got an extractor in the corner, only a small one, not a big one like Mark's one. But yeah, just, I guess, get into good habits of like damping down the floor, that sort of thing.
Right then, first coat done, so about 10 to 15 minutes to dry in between or to go tacky dry, and we're going to get the second coat on now. I think 2 coats will probably be good enough. It goes on pretty thick.
Right, that epoxy primer is fully dried now. We just need to flat it back. Now this is where it makes it quite easy. I didn't realise this. Again, thanks for Rick for the tip. When you start rubbing it down, so we're going with 400 wet and dry here, you can see when you've rubbed enough, it just goes all smooth, light grey. And you can see where it's mottled like that, that's where it needs a bit more rubbing down. So you actually don't need guide coat, it makes it quite easy. So, long, boring, tedious job now. Not going to time lapse this. I've just got to get that all rubbed down. Right, that was actually relatively pain-free and really easy to rub back. So obviously, I guess it's filler primer, it's designed to be rubbed back. So, it's all rubbed back now. As you can see, it's nice and smooth. A couple of areas where I've rubbed through, so they'll just get a tiny bit of etch primer on there. And then the plan is, so I've rubbed back with 1000 grit up to here. So I'm going to try to go with colour up until about here. And then I'm going to go with lacquer, which is going to go up to sort of this line here, just before this line. So colour up to here, lacquer up to about here. In fact, I might take that 1000 grit a little bit higher up because I can buff that. So yeah, colour up to about there, lacquer up to about there, and then hopefully I can blend all that in. Like I say, inside the boot, it's just going to get colour and maybe a little whiz over with lacquer, but I'm not going to go mad inside the boot. Right, we're all pretty much prepped and degreased now. Tack rag will be the last wipe. I'd need to put some etch primer on, forgot about that. Just prepping the gun. So for this, I mean, I've got my lovely DeVille Bis, donated by a subscriber to the channel, Mike Mazur, thank you once again. But it's a big gun and it's got a very wide fan on it. I know you can narrow it down, but I think it's just too big for this, certainly for getting inside the boot. There's really a lack of room there when you've got the big paint pot on top as well. So this is Mark's sort of mini gun, which I'm going to use. So I'm just cleaning that up now. Never take things for granted, so I stripped it all down. Needling it is minging. It's going to want a good clean, and I'm glad I checked because I don't know how well this will show on the camera, but that is blocked with yellow orange paint, same colour as the Coupe Press, funnily enough. So we're going to give that all a good clean up first. Right then, you might be wondering why I'm mixing up another pot of paint. That's because I am a numpty. So we're working with polyester paint. I read the instructions for acrylic. So acrylic paint, it's 2 to 1 part hardener, 10% thinners. Polyester, it's 1 to 1, so it's not 2K. With the polyester paint, the lacquer is the 2K element. I did think while I was mixing it, I'm thinking this doesn't feel right. Luckily, I went and checked, and luckily I ordered spare paint. It does mean I've wasted some, well, I've wasted quite a lot of paint in there. Be interesting to see what happens to that. I don't know whether hardener will work with it, but anyway, we got the right paint mixed up now. Really important to give it a really thorough mix.
Right, that's all the base coat on. Pretty happy with it, to be honest. Just need to go round and tack wipe quickly, but I didn't get any reactions anywhere. The only bit that I was, and you'd have seen me mucking around, was here. I can just see a shadow, like a line there. I actually think it's where the filler overlaps the paint, which I always try and avoid. I always try and do filler just over bare metal because it does tend to create these like witness marks. I don't think it's going to show when the lacquer's on there, but I really don't fancy rubbing it down. I just think I'll cause myself more problems. Everything else has gone so well that I think I will just introduce problems. So I'm going to get some lacquer on there now. I did say I wasn't going to do inside the boot, but the inside the boot's come out so nicely. I think I'm going to do inside the boot as well.
Right, you see this? This is a happy Keith. So it all went really well. Really pleased. I always worry about it because you can put so much time and effort into getting the panel gaps perfect, neatening up your welding, getting it all aligned, doing all the prep work, but it can all go wrong in the blink of an eye when it comes to putting the paint on. I would say I'm getting better at it. You know, I've done a bit of painting now. I'm more than just a complete and utter amateur. I do have a little bit of a clue what I'm doing, but I do mess up just the same. But no, this went really well. So let's have a look around it. So if we start from this side, this was where I worried a bit because I just had a mark round about here. You can just about see it under the lacquer, but honestly, when that light lens is in, I don't think you're going to see that at all. We've got these dry spots at the top here. It's not finished yet. I need to leave that a good at least 24 hours, and then we'll use Trizact, probably like 3,000 discs to blend that in. So the original lacquer comes down to probably about here. So I've got this area here where I can just blend in with the old paintwork. There's not too much crud in there. Now, the important bit on panels like these, if you do get crud in there, it's not just as simple as wet flattening it out, because none of the panels are flat. A lot more difficult to wet flat out. The valance itself, I mean, that's way better than it would have been from new. We've got right up underneath the lip as well with paint and lacquer, so that should give it a good bit of protection. Colour match wise, hard to say until I've blended it. Bottom half I would say looks a little bit darker, but that's no surprise because the car's going to have been sun bleached over the years. But because of where it is down the bottom there, I think that'll just blend in nicely. You won't notice it. Inside, so I've done inside the boot. I did get a little bit carried away because I said I wasn't going to lacquer the inside of the boot, but hey ho, while you're there, while I've got the lacquer mixed up, I might as well just do it. Gives a bit of extra protection. Very difficult to paint the inside of the boot, even with that little minigun. Yeah, so very pleased. We've gone back, so I've done like the back of these here, up inside the back of that seam as well. So very pleased. Yes, I did mess up, so I mixed up far too much lacquer. You know, 150ml wasted there, and that is half a litre of colour, which I'm a numpty. This is polyester paint, and I looked up the instructions for acrylic, and I scratched my head for a minute thinking, why didn't I get no hardener with it? It's because you don't need hardener with polyester paint. You just mix it with 2K thinners, 1 part thinners, 1 part base coat, and then you do it. So that's all wasted. I'd be interesting to know what'll happen with that. I mean, obviously it's still going to dry. I don't know, might take forever to dry. Interesting. I'll leave it and see what happens. Yeah, just going around touching up bits now. So I did actually think I was going to spray the hinges, and then, you know, typically I forgot to. So I've just done there's only the bottom half which needed touching up, so I've just done them with a bit of leftover paint. I'll put a bit of lacquer on them as well. And what I have done with the leftover paint is gone right up the back where I had these lines that were weld through primer, and then I put seam sealer on, so we've got the grey seam sealer, and then I've painted that as well now. So maybe I'll grab the torch and we'll look underneath quickly. Yeah, so probably quite hard to see, but I've gone right up in the corners there as well. Just touched it all in. So, yeah. It's all looking good under here. I mean, I will come under and I'll wash it and clean it all now. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. If you thought it's interesting, please share it so others can see it as well. If you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. And if you want to leave a comment, I read all the comments. So thanks once again for tuning back in. I'll catch you on the next one, where I think won't take long to flat those corners off, and then it'll be putting it all back together again, which is not too much hassle, hopefully. Just got to make sure I don't scratch any paint when I do it.